Hello and welcome into another edition of the West Michigan Sports Show presented by Dezos Digital. I'm your host, Brandon Wirth, joining you here. Glad you are joining us. I have to start off this segment of the program with a confession. I am not recording this on a Saturday. I know it's been a great run, have enjoyed it thoroughly. I'm recording on Friday as you're hearing this live on Saturday, or if you're listening post-produced, might be a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or a Friday. And so we're glad you're joining us no matter where you are. I just wanted to tell you that up front because we're not going to have all the score updates for you here. We're going to have a lot of the postseason scores. We're going to have a lot of things to cover on next week's show, so be sure you subscribe and follow wherever you get this show. And we'll recap the 2 weeks with all of our score lines. I will run through it as well, as we'll have a lot to talk about when it comes to the postseason starting next week. So we'll get those all wrapped up and ready to go for you next week. But this episode is very cool. This is a very important episode. We're kind of back to the top 5 segment. Not necessarily to the same extent as what we had, just a little modified version, but why our high school athletics are so important, right? There are a lot of different things that go into sports that are very important and should be, frankly, talked about more often on why are sports important, right? Why are they important in our culture? Why are they important in our athletes, the coaches, the fans, the community, and their lifestyles? And probably the most important thing, why should high school sports be considered with more attention, right? We already give it quite a bit of attention, but I'm going to tell you exactly, maybe there's not enough, and I got some reasons behind that. So big thanks go out to our sponsors first and foremost before we get into the episode. Thanks to Johnson's Automotive, the Schuberg Insurance Agency, Quality Car and Truck Repair, as well as Ultra Care Big Rapids, Parasol Sales and Service of Big Rapids, Moto the Macasta Osceola Transit Authority, and the Macasta Osceola Career Center. Big thanks to you for your support of the West Michigan Sports Show. If you want to be a part of this show and all of our sports coverage. Hey, it's playoff season, folks, for a lot of our local teams, and we're continuing onward all the way into basketball season. Yes, we got to talk about basketball coming up here soon. Call 796-7000, say that you want you and your business to be a part of all of our great content here throughout the next couple of weeks into the rest of 2024. All right, let's get into it, right? Why do high school athletics have so much importance, or why should they have more importance, right? And so obviously I've looked through a lot of different prompts. I've looked through a lot of different things as far as research, a lot of websites. There's a lot of different things that come through when it comes to asking the simple question of, what is the purpose of high school sports? Why is there importance to it, right? At the end of the day, it could just be considered another club activity, right? It might just necessarily be the same as art class, right? You're competing, you're having awards that are both on the table, and you practice after school. What's the big difference about it? I'm going to tell you exactly what those, and I think there are 5 main things, right? Hence the top 5 that I alluded to earlier. There's 5 things that make high school athletics important, right? And I think anybody that will hear these will see those as a very obvious answer, very clear answer. But I'm going to get into a little bit more, dig a little bit deeper so that you can get a better understanding of necessarily maybe why, not why these reasons are, because you're probably going to hear them and say, you know what, that makes sense. But I'm going to give you both a first world perspective as an athlete that has worked at both the high school and the college level, as well as competed at the high school and college level, and why they're so important, as well as professional sports too, dabbling in there. So the first one, number 1, it teaches life skills both mentally and physically that you can use later in life, right? This is a very easy one. When it comes to sports, you learn things. You learn things about yourself. You learn things about your teammates. You learn things about your coaches. You learn things about the game. And I think when it comes down to it, you look at obviously a lot of the parts that go into athletics, right? You are a student athlete. So at the end of the day, yes, I know every athlete out there listening to this is probably going to say, oh, yeah, I know, I should do school, I should get my diploma. Those things are very important, right? Education is a big part of it. Now, the biggest thing, though, too, is you have to look at also the mental and physical life skills that it teaches, right? Obviously, you're absorbing knowledge, but you're learning about yourself. And I think that's the biggest part of it, right? You're working on things like time management is an important one, right? Can you get your things done before practice, right? Can you stay disciplined to meet deadlines, even though you got things in the way, right? And for a lot of us, especially, the emotional capture of the mental aspect of sport is a very hard thing to dissect, right? Emotions can run wild when you're on the playing field and competitive surface. It doesn't even matter if you're playing for a state championship in football or if you're on the basketball court years later with some of your old friends just playing noon ball over lunch. It doesn't matter where the game is. There's going to be emotions involved with it, whether you like it or not. So being able to understand yourself, understand the time management that it takes, understand the discipline and your emotional capacity. You learn all those things in high school athletics, quick, fast, in a hurry. Every game is different. Every team is different. Every moment is different. And so you understand who you are as a person, how you react to those things, right? And you work on a lot of those mental strengths, like how can you continue to push yourself to be better? You're learning those things about yourself. How can I best improve myself to be efficient, be powerful, right? And be competitive, and no matter what it is. Because at the end of the day, you have to be competitive, right? You have to do a good job, no matter if you're continuing on to be a professional athlete, or if you're going to be a teacher, or if you're going to be an accountant, or if you're going to be a doctor or anything in between. You're going to have to be good at what you do and compete against other people. Otherwise, your doors are going to close down, right? That's the end of the matter. So you have to know who you are, both mentally and physically. How can you advance yourself and know those life skills to help advance yourself, like the respect, the discipline, the time management, the work ethic, right? The teamwork that is all involved with those life skills, right? Super important aspect of it. And with that, of course, obviously comes the physical side, right? It's improving your health and wellness. That's a definite thing at the end of the day, right? You are staying in shape no matter what you like it or not, right? You are competing in sport and you're going to be in shape, right? And there's a lot of sports out there that might be like, oh, well, obviously cross country is different than golf, right? Of course it is, but it's a lot different of a game, right? Core strength is involved in both, right? Stamina is good in both, right? You're still improving yourself just in a little bit of different way. I saw this article online that I'd like to share as well. A Paraclete High School had published this, right? And this is a very simple article, right? I made a complete, simple Google search like many of you would if you were prompted with this question, right? Why should you participate in high school athletics? And there's a couple things on here. Obviously, the academic performance, as I mentioned, right? You are advancing yourself and your knowledge. And not only right now in high school, right? But into college readiness for those that are all going to college. But let me stress this forward. Not everybody needs to go to college. Not only that, not necessarily right away. There's a lot of time that it takes to get yourself right and understand what you want to do in life, right? I've talked to quite a few individuals now that are actually in their later high school years that have told me, like, I'm not sure if college is ready for me. And I'm very grateful to hear that coming out of their mouths, just being able to understand that I don't know what I want to do yet. And so are you going to waste the money potentially trying to figure that out, right? It's good to catch it now and start to think about that all the way through before you commit long term. So I thought that was a really impressive thing to hear, as well as the academic performance portion. All around the board, right? You're going to learn things. But the third one, especially the health and wellness, right? There is almost an epidemic beginning in the United States. Obviously, I don't have the complete numbers, and I don't really want to give specific numbers because obviously some can seem biased depending on where you get them from. But I think it's fair to say that with the technological advancements and with a lot of the overall efficient ways that you can do things, right? You don't necessarily have to physically go walk to get a pizza at a pizza parlor, right? It can get delivered to you, right? You don't necessarily have to go to the movies. You can go watch it at home. So you don't have to necessarily have the same physical output each and every day, thanks to a lot of the advancements that we've had in society. So health and wellness in sport, obviously rigorous physical activity, right? Being able to build those healthy habits of staying healthy, staying active, those are very important. The second part of it, it builds relationships. I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, right? The teamwork, the camaraderie portion of sport. It's one of the best in the book, in my opinion. You get to know your teammates, right? You get to know them to and from and wherever they are, have really gone through their journeys, and you can compare that with yours as well, right? Those are all things, when you come down to it, you can connect with, right? With those teammates, right? What are your favorite hobbies, right? Are you both fishermen? Do you want to go out on the boat on Saturday and catch some salmon? You never know, right? You might go on the river. You might just go out and, you know what? Let's just hang out with friends. Let's go watch a movie. Or, hey, do you want to help me study with my test? I know you're good at math. I'm really trying to get better at math. Right? You have those relationships with those teammates and those athletes that you compete against and that you compete with. It can be an either or situation. So you have those opportunities, right? And those future connections, I can't stress this enough as one that has seen this firsthand, right? The people that you meet can help you down the road. The people that you meet right now can help you get where you want to go, right? You know someone who knows someone who knows someone, right, that might be in the same dream job or maybe in the dream place, or maybe can help you with whatever you are looking for as far as in your search of life and the journey that it has in store, right? Those people that you meet might be able to get you there, right? You never know when you might run into your aunts, cousins, moms, uncles, those kind of connections where they'll, hey, look, that person can probably help you with what you want to do, both athletically potentially and as well in academically and future in life when it comes to occupation, or even when it comes to just life advice, building a family, right? Those things are super important. And it provides passion behind the game, right? When you are banded with a group of brothers or sisters wearing the same name across your chest, it really does give you that sense of connection, right? You might be from different walks of life, but when you're competing together on the same field, on the same court, whatever competitive surface it may be, and you can look down the line and see all of your teammates there, it's a very special moment. At the end of the day, it really does provide a unique experience to us. So it helps you build those relationships, not only with each other as athletes. Fans can do that with the athletes themselves, and I think that's a really cool part of it, right? The fans can interact with the athletes. I know that's one thing that I have certainly really championed in my time here in Big Rapids and Fairstown. I hope you guys really have too. Being able to understand that these athletes, right, they are athletes, but they're people too. And getting to know them and being able to be fans of theirs in a unique way by knowing who they are. And I think that's a big part of it as well. As coaches, getting to know your coaches is super important too, because they can help you with your success down the road, as well as provide you with the insight that you need to get to that next place. So those are the first 2 points. We're going to take a quick break. We'll pay some bills. We'll be right back with points 3, 4, and 5 on why high school athletics are important and should be taken very seriously during your time. It's a short time and it goes by way too fast. We'll be back after this right here on News Radio WBRN.
Bezos Digital is a proud sponsor of the West Michigan Sports Show. They specialize in elements to help take your business to the next level with everything digital. Bezos Digital is different from traditional media companies and digital advertising agencies because of our attention to detail for our clients. We pride ourselves on the creative we build for our clients and the positioning we offer them within their target market. You can find out more information at DezosDigital.com or by contacting the Big Rapids Media Network.
Welcome back to the West Michigan Sports Show, presented by our friends at Bezos Digital. Brandon Wirth here with you, talking high school athletics and why they are important in our society, especially moving into the future. We talked about teaching life skills. That obviously includes both mentally and physically. Things like discipline, things like camaraderie, time management, work ethic for the now and the future are very important, as well as building relationships with your athletes, with your fans, being able to understand who they are, make future connections, provide passion behind the game. And I'm going to kind of piggyback on point number 2 into point number 3. Point number 3 that I have is it connects the community to the school, right? This one seems like a very, very simple concept, but holy cow, how elaborate can it be if you're able to really find that connection, right? The opportunities can seem limitless if you can get your community behind your team, right? Great example, as you're hearing this Saturday, it'll obviously have happened last night, but as I'm recording this, it's about to happen tonight. Reed City playing football at Beale City. 2 very, very small towns, right? A school of 420 as well as a school of half that at around 210, both meeting at a football field on a Friday night. The towns are going to be pretty much as empty as you can ask for, right? They're going to be down the road. You're going to see the closed down signs. We're closed early due to the football game, right? They're going to travel endless amounts of miles to be able to watch a lot of them, their kids, a lot of them, maybe their family, their friends, as well as just the teams because of the fact how much the community is behind the school, right? If you can do those things, the opportunity for advancement is endless, right? It brings the communities closer together. That's at the end of the day. You have to understand that these communities thrive behind their sports teams, right? Look at it in a broad scale, right? Look at Detroit, for example, right now. A few years ago, Detroit was in poverty beyond belief. You look at the streets, they were not clean. And the fact is that it just did not feel like the Detroit that it used to be back in the day when it was so prosperous. It was such a great place to be. New people would come in all over the place because of how great of a city it was. And it just slowly really kind of, I would say, put the rust on the buildings. You could just see from the exterior, right? It wasn't looking as pretty. Now, Look at how great the sports have been the last couple of years and how much it's been cleaned up. You go downtown Detroit, everything's really taken care of. The homeless population has gone down, and the passion behind the people that live there is greater than ever, right? And so those are huge, important parts of it, right? I found an article from Team Travel Source as well that I thought I'd like to share with you. And this is from this year as well, written by Sarah Wheatley. She did a really nice job with this. I think when it comes down to the way that community and the community ties are important is understanding a lot of these small towns, your community are the people that are making your sports possible, right? The local businesses sponsoring the teams, helping pay for things, right? As boosters, there's a lot of different things that come around it, right? Residents rally around because of the second point, subpoint, I should say, of point number 3 is the pride and excitement during the school year that a community has. It can drive you anywhere, right? The Rundown, great episode. You guys can follow that on YouTube, BigRapidsDailyNews.com. People have watched The Rundown, right? Me and JT, of course, really enjoy putting the episodes together for you guys. It's a really sense of fun for us, but we wouldn't necessarily be doing it, right, if there was no support from the community. But you can see how much it's just little high school football. We're just a couple guys talking about high school football, and hundreds of people are flooding in to watch, to be able to learn more about their teams because they care. Their passion is involved. The drive is there. And so that's one thing that is huge, right? You never know who might be down the block looking to help with sports. They might help organize a tournament. They might organize a younger travel team to get experience, right? There's so many ways, or maybe it's just a simple financial donation. Community helps make high school and communities together as one pride, not a Lions reference, but can be a reference for any small team and other town out there. The fourth point kind of piggybacks off the third point. I'm kind of doing a line dance here. 1 moves to 2, and then 2 moves off of 3, 3 moves off of 4. And now 4 is moving especially into number 5, but we'll get to that one here in just a minute. Revenue generation is crucial to the school through sports, right? People are paying tickets. People are paying for concessions, right? They're paying for passes to go to games, right? They're paying a lot of this money to support the kids, right? And it's not just to go see them, right? They're giving the money for long term as far as supporting these teams and their sports continually onward, right? Think of it almost as a donation, right? You're giving your time to be at the game. Not only that, but if you're giving your time to the game, that doesn't mean you're actually physically there, right? People listen to the radio. People stay at home and watch from the comfort of their couch. But when it means the most to them, when it means more than just finding out the score, right? They go to the game. They go stand behind the fence, right? They go bring their lawn chair out to the course. They go find a bleacher seat and really, I'll tell you what, pick up a couple bruises from sitting in steel bleachers for 4 years of their life because they care and want to give back to the kids at the end of the day. If the money aspect was not important, right, more people would be there. But that just goes to show the passion. People are willing to pay money and go to these sporting events, right? Some of them are obviously free, which is great. Some of them have ticket prices, right? Also great. But the revenue generation is important, right? Tickets, concessions. Another element that I didn't mention the first time, merchandise, of course, right? Teams sell merch. You're going to rep your team downtown, right? It's the same way at the big leagues all the way down to Pee-wees. It doesn't matter if you're playing a little old 3-on-3 tournament on a weekend or you're going to be playing with a professional or Division I, Division II, high A college team, right? It doesn't matter. You're supporting your team and your school and your town and your community behind that, right? And you are giving back to the program by buying those things, right? Many of the times, a lot of these schools will literally put aside, right, clothing order forms, specific merchandise that goes back into the program, right? Buy a football shirt, you support the football team. Buy a cross-country sweatshirt, you support the cross-country team. Buy a wrestling hat, you buy a wrestling hat. And now you're giving back to wrestling. At the end of the day, those things are going back, right? And revenue generation is super important, right? It's such a big way that high schools are able to get their funds, right? It's a way that they're able to pay their bills. It's a way to give back to the community, right? It doesn't matter if it's $100, $1,000, right? Booster clubs are involved, sponsorships with businesses, right? Fundraisers that help support these causes, right? This is a way that people come together to support the programs. is they give a lot of their money back to give that revenue generation opportunity there for the schools, and that they can continue to do great things so athletes can get the same as well as students can advance, right? It all goes back into the pot at the end of the day. It all pays back to the kids in their sports, even though it might not seem like it at the time. There's a method to the madness. I can promise you that. Number 5, the easiest point by far to cover. Everybody can agree with this, right? It's a 3-letter word that every coach should preach for why kids are involved in sport. Yes, should we take it seriously to the point where that's not just the only reason you're there? Absolutely. Goals and success are measured at different levels. But within every single goal of success and every single achievement that you are shooting for, the word fun should always be involved. Sports should be fun, right? If you wanted to earn money and you were able to go get a job, great. Good for you. Super happy. You're supporting yourself and you're financially helping yourself from now to the end of time. You are doing sports, right? You're giving up theoretically that opportunity, right? Because every student, theoretically, not saying every situation, I'm not going to necessarily stereotype to say that every single student should do this, right? Every student could say, you know what, we're going to go to school and then I'm going to go make money and I'm going to have a job after school. And that's how I'm going to pay and move myself forward, right? But they play sports. Why does they play sports? Sports are fun. Football is fun. Cross country is fun. Volleyball is fun. Baseball, softball, any sport in between, right? They're all fun. There's a reason why you're playing the game. You are running in the race, that you are competing. It's because there's some level of enjoyment out of it. No matter if it's you just love the game, you love the sport, or if you're getting something out of it that makes the reward worth it, there's obviously fun in the process, right? Because of those other things, because it's fun, you're with your teammates, you're with your community, right? You are earning yourself further satisfaction by providing back to the program, right? With revenue, you're learning a lot of new skills. All those things encapsulated, right? Points 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Revenue generation, community connectivity, as well as relationship building and life skills building are all involved in fun, right? Memories that last forever. You will meet and greet a lot of these people and you will share stories about some of your favorite times in life, right? You always got those great stories, and a lot of them are involved with high school sports, right? Maybe you see a teammate 5 years down the road, you randomly run into him at a restaurant and say, hey, you remember that time when we ended up winning that game on a buzzer beater after one guy lost his shoe and the other guy had tripped down? Like, there's a lot of those fun stories that you'll never forget. Those things should be involved in sports. That's why they're fun at the end of the day, right? The enjoyment of it. It can be a stress reliever, right? No matter what situation you are in life. When you step on the field, when you step on the court, whatever surface it may be, those problems can go away, right? I'm not saying all the way to the extent, but sports can be a great stress reliever. It can be a great, obvious way that you can really go into a different persona, at least for the time being, not have to worry about whatever you have to worry about in life. It can be an avenue to help you. And I think sports are a really important part of it, and they should be fun at the end of the day. Because if they weren't fun, why would we do it? We would be all at a desk job and we'd all be working and making money. But sports are fun, and they should be fun. And it's a way that everything can encapsulate for the benefit of the fans, the coaches, and the student athletes. So there are my 5 points for you. Hopefully you guys got some insight and enjoyed this episode. We'll be back to our normal scoreboard and other activities here on next week's episode. We hope you enjoy the crazy weekend, as there's a lot of stuff going on here. We got a lot of rivalries around the area. We got playoff football starting next week, as well as we got state finals coming up for cross country, volleyball, and soccer. Also a little bit past their prime as far as the season is concerned, but a lot of anticipation moving forward for a lot of these teams. We'll recap a lot of that coming into next week's episodes. Be sure to preset this dial if you're listening to us live, or subscribe and follow wherever you found this show. I'm Brandon Wirth, and I'm out. We'll see you back here next week right here on News Radio WBRN.